You are feeding something every single day, with your time, your energy, your attention. The question is, are you feeding your strength or your fear, your purpose or your distractions? What you feed grows, and what you starve dies. This audiobook is your wake-up call. It's time to starve the doubt, the fear, the laziness, and feed the power, the discipline, the vision inside you. You're about to learn how to take back your energy, cut off the noise, and grow into who you were meant to be. Chapter 1. Your focus is fertile ground. What you focus on doesn't just exist. It multiplies. Your attention is like sunlight and water to a seed, whether it's fear or faith, strength or weakness, chaos or peace. If you keep looking at it, thinking about it, reacting to it, it will grow. Focus is never neutral. It's always planting something. So ask yourself, what are you growing? Too many people are unconsciously watering weeds, giving attention to distractions, doubts, drama, and fears. They wonder why life feels overwhelming, yet their energy is going toward things that drain them. Your focus creates your experience. It magnifies what you see. If you keep focusing on the problem, the solution will always feel small. A powerful life doesn't start with more time, money, or motivation. It starts with better focus. When you learn to direct your focus with intention, you stop being controlled by what's loud and start being guided by what's important. That's when real clarity comes in. That's when your path starts to open. Your mind will always reflect what it's exposed to the most. If you feed it chaos, it will echo chaos. If you feed it purpose, it will start building a mission. Focus is how you train your mind to either react or rise. You are not powerless, you are just distracted. Take your focus back, and take your life back with it. Most people try to fix their lives from the outside in, change their job, change their environment, change their relationships. But it all starts inside. You can't grow a garden in toxic soil. Focus is your internal soil. Clean it up, make it fertile. Decide what deserves your attention and cut out what doesn't. You are one focused year away from a completely different life. Not 5 years, not a miracle. Just 1 year of deep, disciplined focus. Eliminate what doesn't matter. Double down on what does. That's how you go from scattered to sharp, from surviving to building, from dreaming to becoming. Chapter 2. Stop feeding what's draining you. You only have so much energy in a day. Every thought, every conversation, every click, it's either fueling you or draining you. And most people are leaking their energy into things that give them nothing back. The mindless scrolling. The people who never grow. The habits that numb instead of nourish. It adds up, and it's costing you your life force. You keep saying you're tired, but you're not resting. You're just being drained by distractions that offer comfort but steal progress, by people who always take but never pour back, by mental loops that replay failure and fear. Energy doesn't disappear, it's being spent, and if you don't control where it goes, everything around you will consume it. Every time you say yes to what drains you, you're saying no to what builds you. That's the real reason you feel stuck, not because you don't have potential, but because your energy is being mismanaged. It's not about doing more, it's about cutting what's breaking you so you can protect what's building you. You can't elevate while staying emotionally entangled with things that pull you down. Stop feeding arguments that lead nowhere. Stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Stop pouring into things that leave you empty. If it drains your peace, it's too expensive to keep. Discipline isn't just about waking up early or grinding hard. It's about refusing to participate in your own burnout. Protecting your energy isn't selfish. It's survival. You weren't meant to be tired all the time. That's not a normal life. That's a life being drained by unchecked access. Not everyone deserves your response. Not every invite deserves your presence. And not every emotion deserves your reaction. Stop feeding everything that knocks. Start guarding your door. Because if you keep letting everything in, don't be surprised when you feel overwhelmed. Sometimes the most powerful move isn't to do more, it's to subtract. Remove the energy leeches, the habits that keep you on autopilot, the media that poisons your mood. Energy management is clarity. When you see what's draining you, you get to choose freedom. You cannot build a powerful life while constantly recharging from unnecessary damage. Your power comes from pruning, from simplifying, from choosing what grows you, even when it's not the easiest thing to face. That's not cold. That's clarity. Every time you say, just this once, to what you've outgrown, you send your future self the bill, and it will cost you peace, progress, and time. Stop feeding what already proved it can't carry you forward. Let the past starve. Let the old cycles end. You're not broken. You're surrounded by things that break your rhythm, that steal your presence, that dull your focus. If you feel weak, look at what you're allowing daily. Your weakness isn't who you are. It's what's being reinforced. Feed your focus. Starve the noise. It sounds simple, but it takes fierce intentionality. Say no to the good so you can say yes to the great. Stop checking in with chaos. Start committing to calm. You don't need more stimulation. You need space. A strong mind is not one that can take on everything. It's one that can let go of what's not theirs to carry. Some people are not meant to walk your path. Some thoughts are not meant to stay. Some habits are not meant to live another day. Let them go. Audit your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. Ask yourself daily, did this conversation energize me or exhaust me? Did this habit help me or hurt me? Did this thought make me stronger or smaller? Track your power leaks, then fix them. You weren't created to live drained, defeated, and distracted. That's not strength. That's survival mode. And you're meant to do more than survive. You're meant to thrive. But to do that, you must stop giving life to what's already killing your fire. Start today. Cut the cords. Block the noise. Break the loop. Your energy is sacred, and your future self is depending on the choices you make now. Stop feeding what's draining you, and start feeding what will elevate you. Chapter 3. Starve the voice of doubt. Doubt is a quiet thief. It doesn't shout. It whispers. It slips in when you're tired, when you're alone, when you're about to take a risk. It tells you you're not ready, not good enough, not worthy. And if you feed it, it grows. Every excuse, every hesitation, every delay is proof that doubt is being well fed. You weren't born doubting yourself. That voice was taught, passed down by fear, failure, rejection, or someone else's limitation. But just because it was planted doesn't mean it needs to be watered. You get to decide what thoughts you grow and which ones you let wither. The voice of doubt survives on your attention. Every time you rehearse failure, every time you replay rejection, every time you compare your life to someone else's, you're feeding it. Doubt cannot thrive in a mind trained to focus on strength, growth, and what's possible. Confidence isn't something you wait for. It's something you build by starving doubt. And that means action. Action is the antidote. Every step forward weakens the lie. Every promise kept to yourself silences the noise. Every win, no matter how small, makes doubt lose ground. You don't need to silence doubt with perfection. You silence it with proof. Show up, try, fail if you must, but keep going. Because the more you prove to yourself that you can act through fear, the less power doubt will ever hold again. Doubt loves comfort zones. It thrives in stillness. It multiplies in delay. The longer you sit in overthinking, the stronger it becomes. But once you move, even clumsily, you disrupt its pattern. Doubt cannot survive in motion. Doubt cannot outlast discipline. Train your mind to expect resistance, but don't make resistance mean retreat. When doubt shows up, it's not always a warning. Sometimes it's confirmation you're headed toward growth. Learn to feel it and move anyway. That's how warriors are built. Not every thought deserves belief. Your brain speaks in stories, not always in truth. Doubt is just a script you've heard too many times. But now you have a choice. Edit the story or let it run your life. This time, choose to rewrite it. You will never outperform the limits you secretly believe about yourself. That's why you must identify the lies that keep cycling in your head. I always mess up. I'm not smart enough. I'll never make it. These aren't facts, they're familiar prisons. Starve them. The voice of doubt doesn't leave on its own. You have to evict it, replace it, speak over it. Even when you don't believe it yet. Declare strength before you feel it. Speak power before you see it. That's not delusion, that's transformation. Feed your mind evidence of progress. Document your wins. Remind yourself of how far you've come. Keep records of your victories, because when doubt returns, and it will, you'll have the receipts to shut it down. Starving doubt doesn't mean you'll never feel it. It means you stop bowing to it. You stop letting it decide. You stop letting it lead. Fear can ride in the car, but it doesn't touch the wheel. That's how you take your power back. Most of the fear we feel is imaginary. It's not happening. It's just being rehearsed. Stop living in scenes that don't exist. Stop fighting battles that aren't even real. Doubt wants to drain your energy before the real fight even begins. Doubt thrives in isolation. It grows when you're alone with your insecurities. That's why your environment matters. Surround yourself with truth speakers, people who call out your potential, not just your problems. People who remind you who you are when you forget. There will always be another reason to wait, another fear to conquer, another voice to silence. But if you keep feeding those delays, your dreams will starve. The pain of regret always outweighs the discomfort of action. Self-doubt feels real because it wears your voice. But just because a thought sounds familiar doesn't mean it's true. Learn to separate who you are from what you've been told. You're not the fear. You're not the failure. You're the fighter. When you catch yourself doubting, ask, who gave me this voice? Who convinced me I couldn't? Whose fears am I carrying? Once you expose the source, you can stop agreeing with the lie. Doubt loses power the moment it's questioned. Build habits that choke out self-doubt. Start small and stay consistent. Create momentum that doubt can't compete with. Make your actions louder than your fears, because when your work becomes consistent, your belief becomes natural. Starving doubt is a daily practice. It's not about being fearless. It's about being faithful to your process, your growth, your next step. Every morning you decide, feed your power or feed your fear. Choose wisely. You won't always feel brave, but you can act like it. And over time, those actions stack up. They create a new normal. They make confidence the default. The voice of doubt becomes just background noise, not a command you follow. The stronger you become, the quieter that voice gets. Not because it disappears, but because you stop listening. You stop feeding it with fear. You stop letting it dictate your limits. That's how transformation happens. Not all at once, but moment by moment. You are not the doubt. You are the one deciding whether it gets fed. So let today be the day you cut off its supply. Let your discipline be louder. Let your actions be greater. Let your power speak. And let doubt go hungry. Chapter 4. Energy grows where attention goes. Your attention is not free. It's the most valuable currency you have. Wherever you place it, energy follows. Whether it's fear or focus, growth or gossip, pain or purpose, what you consistently pay attention to will expand. Your life becomes a mirror of what you habitually focus on. You're not overwhelmed because you're doing too much. You're overwhelmed because your energy is scattered in too many directions. You're checking everything, reacting to everyone, and wondering why you feel drained. The truth is simple. Your energy is growing chaos because your attention is feeding it. Success doesn't require magic. It requires management of energy, thoughts, and attention. You cannot build a powerful life with a distracted mind. What you give your focus to will dominate your mood, your momentum, and your mindset. Nothing is neutral. Everything is either pulling you forward or holding you back. When your attention is divided, your power is diluted. Every tab open in your brain weakens the one thing you're trying to build. You're trying to grow discipline, but you're feeding doubt. You're trying to create peace, but you're feeding anxiety. You can't grow one thing while feeding its opposite. Every day is a garden, and your thoughts are the seeds. What are you watering with your focus? Are you feeding strength or feeding stress? It's not what happens to you. It's what you give life to that shapes your outcome. Attention is not harmless. It's either fuel or fire. You can't keep scrolling through negativity and expect a positive life. You can't keep revisiting what hurt you and expect healing. What you revisit repeatedly, you reinforce. What you rehearse, you rewire. Your attention programs your emotions and anchors your reality. It's not enough to remove distractions. You must choose your obsessions. Pour your attention into growth, not gossip, into progress, not pettiness, into skills, not scrolling. Starve the noise by ignoring what doesn't build you. Train your eyes to look for what you want to grow. The most successful people aren't the smartest, they're the most focused. They protect their attention like it's sacred. They don't waste energy reacting to everything. They choose what's worth their time, and they go deep, not wide. That's how they build something unshakable. Your mind is a spotlight. It can't light everything at once. So wherever you shine it, that area becomes your entire world. If you shine it on problems, you'll live in stress. If you shine it on solutions, you'll find direction. The light is yours. Use it wisely. You can't grow strength while babysitting weakness. You can't move forward while obsessing over everything behind you. Attention must be intentional. You either feed your future or keep replaying your past. You can't do both and expect momentum. You're not lacking potential. You're leaking energy. And attention leaks are subtle. It's the 20 minutes of mindless scrolling, the hour lost in other people's opinions, the emotional energy drained by things you can't change. Those little distractions become major blocks. Whatever you give consistent energy to will begin to define you. Start obsessing over your goals the way you obsess over your insecurities. Start pouring into your vision the way you pour into everyone else's drama. Make your focus a tool, not a trap. You'll never rise while feeding things that hold you down. You'll never grow peace while constantly revisiting what broke you. Energy grows where attention goes, and if you want something to die, stop looking at it. Starve it with silence. Cut its fuel line. When you finally decide to take back control of your focus, life starts responding differently. You stop chasing energy and start creating it. You stop absorbing the world and start shaping it. Your thoughts shift. Your mood elevates. Your results change. Think of your attention as a vote. Every time you focus on fear, you vote for staying stuck. Every time you focus on action, you vote for momentum. The more you vote in one direction, the more that outcome becomes your reality. What are you voting for? Focus is not about obsession, it's about alignment. When your attention lines up with your goals, your energy stops being wasted. You move smoother, you recover faster, you react less. Your life becomes a reflection of clarity, not confusion. The difference between stuck and strong is what you look at daily. Feed your vision. Watch it come alive. Rehearse your wins. Watch your confidence grow. Give your focus to becoming, not just surviving. That's how power is built, one intentional glance at a time. You can't afford to give your attention to everything. Protect your mind like you protect your wallet. Would you hand your life savings to a thief? Then stop handing your energy to distractions. What you give focus to either makes you richer or emptier. Clarity grows when you feed it. Confusion grows when you ignore it. Strength grows when you challenge it. Doubt grows when you entertain it. Your attention is fertilizer. So ask yourself, what do you want to grow? Then pour yourself into it. There's a version of you that's laser-focused, unshakable, peaceful, powerful. That version isn't born, it's built. Built by daily choices. Built by where you look, what you feed, and what you ignore. That version is waiting on you, not motivation. You don't need more time, you need sharper attention. You don't need a better life, you need better focus. The life you want starts by feeding it energy today, because what you feed grows, and what you starve dies. Chapter 5. Cut off what weakens you. You can't build strength while staying connected to everything that breaks you. Growth demands separation, and most people don't struggle because they lack potential. They struggle because they're too loyal to what's draining them. If you want to rise, you must release what weighs you down. Not everything deserves a place in your life just because it's familiar. Familiar doesn't mean healthy. Comfortable doesn't mean right. If something costs you peace, clarity, energy, or identity, it's time to let it go. Comfort that weakens you is a silent enemy. We often hold on out of guilt, out of fear, out of habit. But survival mode is not where you were meant to stay. There is a version of you that's strong, clear, and grounded. But you can't meet that version while clinging to people, habits, and thoughts that shrink you. Everything has a cost, and if something weakens your focus, steals your discipline, or poisons your peace, it's not just inconvenient, it's expensive. You are paying in energy, time, and potential. And the longer you keep paying, the deeper the debt becomes. Cutting something off doesn't always mean conflict. It means clarity. It means realizing not everyone should have access to you. It means saying, "This no longer aligns with the future I'm building," and walking away in peace. Growth is quiet, but so is self-destruction. Stop negotiating with what keeps you small. If it makes you question your worth, slows your growth, or distracts your purpose, it needs to go. Strength isn't in holding on longer than you should. Strength is in letting go when you must. You don't need to announce every exit. Some doors are meant to be closed without applause. Some ties are meant to be cut silently. Your energy shift will say everything. Your results will speak louder than your explanations ever could. Letting go is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's maturity. It's knowing that you can't elevate your life while being emotionally attached to what weakens your spirit. Your peace should not be up for debate. Protect it like your future depends on it, because it does. There are voices in your life that only exist to plant doubt. Patterns that only lead to stagnation, environments that only trigger your worst habits. You owe it to your future to cut those off, not later. Now, because your growth can't wait for comfort to leave, every time you revisit a draining situation, you delay your breakthrough. Every time you stay where you've outgrown, you tell your potential to wait. And the longer you wait, the harder it gets to escape. Cut it now. Heal later, but move forward today. You weren't built to carry everyone. You weren't designed to please every voice. Some people are only meant for a chapter, not your full story. And that's okay. Growth requires pruning. You don't keep dead branches on a tree and expect fruit. Audit your energy the same way you audit your finances. What are you investing in that never pays you back? What keeps you in emotional debt? What makes you feel smaller every time you engage with it? Cut it. Don't explain. Just protect your peace. If it weakens your discipline, it weakens your destiny. There's no success without sacrifice. And sometimes that sacrifice looks like saying no to the party, ignoring the call, quitting the toxic habit, or leaving what's familiar behind. Discipline demands decisions. You can't grow in soil that drains you. Check your environment. Does it inspire you or exhaust you? Does it challenge you or distract you? Does it support your goals or sabotage them? If it weakens you, it doesn't deserve your roots. Stop hoping people will change while you stay stuck. You're not responsible for who won't grow. You're responsible for protecting your own. Don't let loyalty to someone else's comfort become betrayal to your own calling. Growth requires hard choices. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's just not answering, not going back, not explaining again. Sometimes the greatest show of strength is quiet disconnection. Cut off the drain and the power comes back. You can't keep saying it's not that bad when it's slowly killing your spark. Tolerating something because it's not toxic enough is still surrendering your peace. Stop waiting for the pain to get louder. Cut it off while your soul can still whisper. No one is coming to do it for you. No one will tap you on the shoulder and say, "It's time." You must choose. You must draw the line. The world reflects your standards. And if you keep accepting weakness in your space, that's what will multiply. Every strong version of you is built on a decision. This ends here. And not just with people, with habits, beliefs, excuses, and stories you keep telling yourself. If it doesn't align with your future, it's working against it. Stop feeding what weakens you. Every interaction, every thought, every behavior is either an investment or a withdrawal. Choose carefully. You don't have to do everything. You just have to stop doing what's breaking you. Cutting something off isn't cruel. It's clarity with boundaries. You're not doing it to hurt anyone. You're doing it to protect the fire inside you. And the people who care about your growth will understand. The rest? Let them misunderstand. This chapter of your life requires less of what drains you and more of what builds you. Your energy is sacred, and the best way to honor it is to stop leaking it into what weakens you. Energy is power. Don't waste it on what's already proven unworthy. You can't win the war outside until you win the war within. And sometimes the battle is choosing yourself. Not with arrogance, but with quiet conviction. Cut off what weakens you, and watch how much lighter your spirit becomes. Your strength isn't built by who you keep. It's built by what you let go of. The wrong things can feel familiar, even addictive, but once you cut them off, the clarity, peace, and power that returns will remind you why it was necessary. Endings are scary, but some endings are the beginning of everything you've been asking for. So don't hesitate, don't explain, don't shrink. Cut off what weakens you, and watch your life make space for everything that strengthens you. Chapter 6. Feed discipline, starve excuses. Excuses are the comfort food of the undisciplined. They give you a momentary sense of relief, but leave you stuck in the same place. Discipline, on the other hand, is bitter at first, but it builds a life that tastes like freedom. If you want growth, feed the one that multiplies your future. Every time you choose discipline over excuses, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. Excuses whisper soft lies. You're tired. You have time. It's not the right day. Discipline doesn't argue, it acts. Discipline doesn't beg for motivation, it shows up anyway. Discipline is built in silence, in the early hours, the late nights, the moments no one sees. It's not about perfection, it's about repetition. You train your mind by showing it who's in charge. And that means ignoring the voice that says, it's okay to quit today. Excuses are easy because they don't require effort. They offer you comfort without progress. They feel good now, but cost you later. Discipline feels hard now, but builds strength, clarity, and power. You choose your pain, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. You can't feed both. You can't water the plant of purpose and the weed of excuses at the same time. One will always grow stronger. You must decide which one deserves your attention, your time, your life. Because what you feed is what becomes your future. Discipline is not a talent. It's a choice, repeated until it becomes identity. People don't rise because they're gifted. They rise because they are consistent, because they stopped asking how they felt and started showing up no matter what. You're not undisciplined. You're just overfed on distraction. You've spent too long entertaining comfort and giving attention to the weaker voice. Now it's time to starve it. Let it die from lack of response. Watch how powerful you become when you stop negotiating. There's no shortcut. There's no secret sauce. Just discipline. You either put in the reps or you don't. You either do the work or you delay your destiny. The gap between you and your goal isn't talent. It's how often you silence your excuses. Excuses are skilled liars. They dress up in logic. I need rest. I'll do it tomorrow. But discipline sees through the disguise. It knows that most of what we call self-care is really just self-sabotage in a pretty outfit. Discipline is honesty. Brutal, but freeing. When you get tired, excuses shout louder. That's when discipline must dig deeper. That's when you stop seeking comfort and start seeking your calling. Your greatness doesn't live in easy moments. It lives in the resistance. And that's where discipline thrives. You don't need more motivation. You need fewer distractions. You don't need better circumstances. You need better choices. When you eliminate the option to quit, something shifts. You stop being pulled and start pushing. That's the foundation of discipline. Every excuse you feed becomes a wall. Every time you say, I'll do it later, you add another brick between you and your breakthrough. But every time you choose action, even tired, even unmotivated, you tear that wall down, one brick at a time. People will tell you to be kind to yourself. And yes, kindness is important. But real kindness is not letting yourself stay small. Real kindness is pushing through the excuses and doing what your future self will thank you for. That's self-respect in motion. Discipline isn't loud. It doesn't post about the grind. It doesn't need to be seen. It's in the 5 a.m. wake up, the repeated reps, the hard conversations with yourself. It's in saying no when no one's watching. That's where strength is built, in the shadows. Excuses thrive in delay. They gain power the longer you wait. So act now, not tomorrow, not next week. The more you move, the more momentum you build. Discipline doesn't require big leaps, just daily steps that refuse to stop. Starve your excuses by proving them wrong. Let action be your rebuttal. Let progress be your argument. You don't need to convince anyone, not even yourself, when your results start speaking. Feed discipline and watch your excuses shrink into silence. Discipline is freedom in disguise. At first it feels like limitation, but soon it becomes the very thing that unlocks your potential. Because once you master yourself, no situation, no emotion, no excuse can hold you hostage anymore. You can't always control your circumstances, but you can control your effort. You can't always feel motivated, but you can always show up. Discipline is the difference between a wish and a win, the gap between potential and power. Excuses will always be an option, but so will strength. You don't rise because it's easy. You rise because you refuse to sink. You rise because discipline became your default. That's the version of you the world is waiting for. There's a calm that comes with discipline, a quiet confidence, because you know you've earned it. You didn't fake it. You didn't shortcut it. You earned it through sweat, repetition, and the refusal to give up when excuses screamed the loudest. Start small, but stay consistent. It's not about giant moves, it's about silent commitment. The workouts you do when you don't feel like it, the chapters you write when you're tired, the decisions you make when no one's clapping. That's discipline. When you kill the option of giving up, your mind starts looking for ways to move forward. And it finds them. Because discipline rewires you. It changes how you respond to resistance. It teaches you to keep going, even when the feeling is gone. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a made-up mind. Decide that you will show up no matter what, that nothing, no excuse, no distraction, no voice of doubt gets to decide your future. Only your action does. Only your consistency will. And every day you choose discipline over excuses, you grow. Not just in your results, but in your identity. You stop being someone who tries and start becoming someone who executes. That identity shift is the foundation of transformation. So feed it. Feed your discipline with silence, with consistency, with effort. Starve your excuses with action, with movement, with truth. You already have everything you need to win. You just need to stop feeding what makes you weak and start fueling what makes you unstoppable. You are not your lazy moments. You are not your excuses. You are the person who chooses whether to listen to them or not. Each time you ignore the voice that says skip today, you strengthen the voice that says show up anyway. That's how leaders are built, through small victories over weakness. Discipline doesn't wait for inspiration. It creates it. The more you act without needing to feel ready, the more ready you start to feel. That's the paradox. Momentum builds motivation, not the other way around. If you want to feel like doing it, do it first. Excuses hide in your routines. In the little things you let slide. I'll start Monday. It's just one day off. But those little things build a life. That skipped workout becomes a pattern. That delayed project becomes your reputation. What you allow becomes your standard. There's no success without sacrifice, and the first thing to go must be your excuses. They can't come with you where you're going. They're too heavy, too soft, too slow. You can't carry weakness and expect to run fast. Let them go so you can move freely. You don't need the perfect plan. You need the present action. Most people lose years tweaking routines, researching strategies, or getting ready. But real winners move while they learn. They act while they grow. Discipline moves, even if the map isn't clear. Self-respect is built when you do the hard thing, especially when no one's watching. The more you honor your own word, the more unstoppable you become. Discipline is not a punishment. It's proof that you believe in your future enough to protect it. When you delay action, you train your brain to associate resistance with retreat. But when you push through that resistance, even just a little, you train yourself to lean in. That shift in response builds a stronger identity, one that no excuse can control. There are no hacks around effort. There are no secrets that substitute for sweat. You must outlast the voice in your head that says, stop. You must outwork the part of you that wants to coast. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Success isn't built in the moments where everything feels aligned. It's built in the days where you feel tired, frustrated, uninspired, and still do it anyway. That kind of consistency builds confidence, and confidence built on discipline is unshakable. You have two choices every day: fuel your goals or feed your excuses. One will build you, one will bury you. And while the excuses sound soothing, only one leads to the life you keep dreaming about. The disciplined version of you lives there, waiting for your decision. Be honest with yourself. How many of your reasons are just fears in disguise? Fear of discomfort, fear of judgment, fear of failure. Discipline doesn't eliminate fear, but it forces you to move through it. That movement weakens the fear and strengthens you. Every excuse you destroy becomes a brick in the foundation of your future. Stack enough of those, and you've built a fortress, not of fantasy, but of earned power. A life created not by chance, but by the daily choice to ignore the noise and do the work. If you only work when you feel like it, you'll never build momentum. Emotion is unstable. Discipline is rooted. It doesn't shift with the mood or the weather or the opinions of others. It's a contract you keep with yourself, rain or shine, joy or pain. Train yourself to start without negotiation. Don't argue with the workout. Don't debate the task. Don't stall the decision. Just begin. 5 minutes in, the resistance weakens. But you'll never feel ready if you let your excuses speak louder than your purpose. When the results don't come fast, excuses try to fill the gap. They tell you to stop, to rest, to quit. But that's when you double down. That's when discipline proves its worth. By moving anyway. Your breakthrough might be just on the other side of that decision. Discipline shrinks the distance between intention and action. Most people live with a gap, what they say they want and what they actually do. The smaller that gap becomes, the more powerful you get. The only way to shrink it? Starve the excuses, feed the action. What you repeat becomes automatic. Excuses are habits, so is discipline. Choose which one you want running your life. If you feed the right behavior long enough, it becomes your baseline. You don't have to think about showing up. You just do it. Discipline is self-leadership. It's waking up and deciding who's in charge today, your higher self or your weaker voice. Every time you act with intention, you cast your vote. Every time you stay consistent, you tell your mind, I'm building something here. There's a version of you that doesn't flinch when things get hard, who doesn't delay when things feel uncomfortable. That version isn't fantasy, it's just the other side of effort. And the bridge to that version is built with discipline. Most people break when it gets boring. They want excitement, change, stimulation. But discipline thrives in repetition. It finds growth in the grind. If you can outlast the boredom, the doubt, the silence, you'll separate yourself from 99% of the world. You don't have to win every day. You just can't quit. Some days are slow, some reps are heavy, some steps feel harder than others. But the key is not perfection, it's persistence. Keep going. Even limping forward is better than standing still. When discipline becomes identity, you don't look for reasons. You create results. You don't explain your grind. You let it speak through your transformation. The world will catch on later. Right now, you build. In silence. With grit. Without apology. Excuses love company. They seek out others who are comfortable being stuck. Discipline walks alone. It doesn't beg for validation. It creates proof. So if you feel alone in your grind, good, that's where power is forged. Stay there until your life reflects it. The most successful people aren't more talented. They're more consistent. They didn't feed their excuses. They didn't water their fears. They fed discipline like it was survival, because it was. And that hunger became the reason they won. So, decide. Today. Right now. Feed the behavior that moves you forward. Starve the thoughts that hold you back. Discipline isn't just a practice, it's a mindset. It's a lifestyle. And once you live it, your excuses won't stand a chance. Chapter 7. Water the seeds of confidence. Confidence doesn't appear overnight. It grows from consistent belief backed by action. You plant it every time you keep a promise to yourself. You water it when you act despite fear. It's not about arrogance, it's about trust. Trust in your ability to rise. Real confidence begins in silence, when you choose yourself before anyone else does, before the applause, before the recognition. It grows in the dark when no one is looking and you're still showing up. That's where unshakable roots form. You don't need permission to be confident. You don't need a crowd to validate your worth. You only need proof. And that proof is built every day you stay disciplined, every time you show up when you don't feel ready. That's self-earned power. Confidence is built like a muscle, and repetition is the weight. You may not feel strong in the beginning, but if you keep lifting, you'll grow. Even when your voice trembles, even when your legs shake, speak and stand anyway. You're getting stronger. The seeds of confidence are planted through small wins. Completing a task, finishing a workout, speaking truth when it's easier to stay quiet. These small victories build belief. Stack enough of them, and doubt runs out of room. Silence the voice that says you're not enough by feeding the actions that prove you are. Confidence isn't loud, it's steady. It's the quiet knowing that no matter what comes, you'll face it. Not because it's easy, but because you've trained for it. Stop waiting until you feel confident to move. Confidence grows through action, not the other way around. The more you step forward, the more your mind adjusts. You don't wait to feel ready. You act, and readiness follows. Confidence isn't the absence of fear, it's movement despite it. The brave aren't fearless, they're just practiced. They've stood in fear long enough to know it doesn't last. So water your confidence by acting even when fear shouts. Every time you doubt yourself and still push forward, you teach your brain a new pattern, one that replaces hesitation with courage. That's not ego. That's self-leadership. That's your higher self refusing to shrink. Comparison is poison to confidence. You grow best when you stay in your lane, water your own soil, and measure yourself only against who you were yesterday. Someone else's timeline isn't your truth. Your growth is yours alone. Affirmations without action are hollow. Speak your power, but back it with steps. Confidence grows best when belief and behavior are aligned. Don't just say you're powerful, act like it. Let your life be your loudest declaration. People may not see your growth right away. That's okay. Confidence isn't for show, it's for stamina. You don't need external validation when your internal compass is clear. When your roots run deep, storms don't scare you. Mistakes don't destroy confidence, they build it. Every failure you survive becomes part of your foundation. The more you fall and get back up, the more unshakable your belief becomes. Confidence is knowing you'll rise no matter what. Don't water doubt by rehearsing failure in your mind. Visualize strength. Speak life into your goals. Starve the thoughts that weaken you. Feed the thoughts that push you. Your focus is fertilizer. Choose wisely. Every decision you make trains your self-image. Do you act like someone you trust? Do you follow through? The more you honor your word, the more your brain learns to trust you. Confidence is the reward for that alignment. Stop asking, "Can I do this?" and start asking, "What will it take to do this?" That shift alone feeds growth. It transforms you from a question mark to a statement, from hesitation to declaration. That's how confidence takes root. Be the voice you needed when you were unsure. Speak to yourself with the strength you give to others. Confidence is not about ego. It's about care. When you protect your energy and nurture your vision, you grow into who you were always meant to be. Confidence is found in preparation. The more prepared you are, the less fear can control you. Study your craft, know your path, sharpen your skills. When you've done the work, you walk into rooms differently, not with arrogance, but with earned calm. Even if your hands shake, build anyway. Even if your voice breaks, speak anyway. Confidence is not born from ease. It's built in resistance. Every uncomfortable step forward is proof that you're stronger than your fear. Remember, you've survived everything you once thought you couldn't. Every trial, every setback, every moment of doubt, you're still here. That alone is evidence. That alone is reason to believe you can do this next hard thing. Protect your environment. Confidence withers in toxic soil. Surround yourself with voices that nourish your growth, not those that pick at your insecurities. Your circle matters. Choose one that waters your roots, not tramples your progress. Confidence doesn't wait for applause. It acts without an audience. It wakes up early. It trains in silence. It doesn't need the world to watch, because it knows the world will notice in time. You don't need hype. You need habits. The more you speak life over yourself, the more your brain starts to believe it. This isn't fake it till you make it. It's speak it while you build it. Speak power. Speak progress. Speak growth. Then walk like it's already true. You don't find confidence, you create it. Brick by brick, action by action, day by day. And it begins with one simple question. What will I feed today? Doubt or discipline, fear or focus, weakness or strength? Confidence is contagious, but only when it's earned. And you earn it through grit, through resilience, through refusal to give up. Water it daily, protect it fiercely, and let it grow into the strongest thing you carry into the world. Confidence deepens every time you act with clarity instead of waiting for comfort. Comfort will lie to you, telling you to stay still, to stay small. But clarity tells you who you're becoming, and the more you walk in that direction, the more you believe in it. When you stop shrinking to fit the room, you start growing into the space you were meant to claim. Confidence is not being louder than others. It's being so sure of your purpose that you don't need to compete. You just walk in it, fully and quietly. Self-doubt thrives in silence, but so does confidence. The difference is what you're doing in that silence. Are you overthinking or building? Are you stalling or sharpening? If you're still moving, even slowly, you're still growing the right seed. Repetition is reinforcement. Speak it, live it, repeat it. That's how confidence becomes second nature. It stops being something you chase and becomes something you carry, a lens through which you see yourself and your power. There's no shame in starting shaky. Even the strongest voices began as whispers. Every confident person you admire once doubted themselves too. The difference? They didn't let that doubt drive. They built anyway. They moved anyway. Confidence is clarity in chaos. It's being able to hold yourself together when everything else is pulling you apart. It comes from knowing you've been through storms and still stood tall. That's not a mindset. That's evidence. Never apologize for your growth. Never dim your light to comfort someone else's insecurity. You work too hard to build this belief. Let it shine. Let it lead. And if someone calls it arrogance, that's just their reflection, not your reality. Doubt makes you forget your past wins. So remind yourself. Make a list. Look at how far you've come. Look at what you've built. That's your truth. That's your record. Let your confidence grow from facts, not fear. You don't grow confidence by being right all the time. You grow it by being brave enough to be wrong and wise enough to learn. Confidence doesn't need perfection. It just needs progress. Steady, real, and earned through effort. The voice in your head can be your greatest enemy or your strongest ally. Train it, feed it strength. Stop letting it run wild with fear. Speak back, speak truth. You are not your worst thoughts. You are your next right decision. Growth doesn't come with applause. It comes with resistance. And your ability to move through resistance builds confidence like no motivational quote ever could. Don't just read about growth. Do the hard work that creates it. Real confidence lets you walk away from things that don't serve your purpose, not because you're better, but because you've outgrown what used to fit. That takes strength, that takes clarity, and that's a seed you must water daily. Don't let one bad day undo a year of belief. Confidence is built through consistency, not perfection. Even when you stumble, even when you pause, if you get back up, you're feeding the right root. You teach people how to treat you based on how confidently you treat yourself. Speak with conviction. Move with purpose. Show them, and more importantly, show yourself, that you're grounded in who you are and where you're headed. Confidence is quiet accountability. It doesn't need to blame or complain. It takes ownership. It makes adjustments. And every time you choose accountability over excuses, you reinforce that unshakable self-trust. When you speak well of yourself, you set the tone for how others speak to you. When you respect your own boundaries, you train others to do the same. That's not ego, that's personal power, and it begins with your own words and actions. Rewire your mind to see failure as feedback. Confidence doesn't say, "I'll never fall." It says, "I'll always get back up." That mentality makes you dangerous to fear. It makes you unstoppable to doubt. The mirror won't always show what you feel. Some days, your reflection will lie, but your actions, they never do. So act like someone who believes in themselves. Even if your mind hasn't caught up, your momentum will drag it forward. Stop looking for signs. Be the sign. Your consistency is evidence. Your action is the answer. You don't need confirmation from the world when you've already decided who you are. That's the kind of confidence that can't be shaken. Protect your confidence like a flame in the wind. Don't expose it to toxic environments. Don't let it burn out in rooms that dim your spark. You don't need everyone's approval. You just need to keep your fire lit, no matter the weather. You don't need the crowd. You need the mirror. Are you proud of who you're becoming? Are you aligned with your values? When the lights are off and no one's watching, do your habits still hold up? That's where real confidence is born. Confidence isn't just built in wins, it's built in recovery. It's how you respond to setbacks, how you treat yourself when you fall short. Be firm, but never cruel. Discipline grows results, but compassion grows confidence. Be patient. Confidence doesn't sprout overnight. Some seeds take time. Some roots go deep before anything blooms. Just because you can't see it yet doesn't mean it's not working. Keep watering, keep trusting, keep going. You will outgrow people who once made you doubt yourself, and that's okay. It's not your job to shrink to fit. It's your responsibility to rise. Confidence isn't about pushing others down. It's about standing tall, even if you're standing alone. There will be days when fear feels louder than your goals. That's normal. But those are the days where confidence is truly tested and grown. Show up anyway. Speak life anyway. Water your seeds, even in the rain. They're still growing. Chapter 8. Don't nurture negativity. Negativity is a weed that thrives when watered. It doesn't need much, just your attention. The more you focus on what's wrong, the more it grows. And before you know it, your mind becomes a garden of doubt, fear, and complaint. That's why you must starve it. Your thoughts are powerful builders. If you constantly speak about what's missing, what's hard, or what hurts, your reality will start to reflect that tone. Negativity doesn't just live in bad situations. It feeds on repeated focus. Break that cycle. You cannot live a positive life with a negative mindset. The two can't coexist for long. One will eventually silence the other, and whichever one you feed the most wins. Choose your inner language carefully. It's shaping your entire perspective. You're not weak for having negative thoughts. You're human, but you're powerful when you choose not to dwell there. Recognizing negativity is awareness, but entertaining it? That's a habit, and habits can be changed. What you say repeatedly becomes your truth. If every conversation you have is laced with complaints, sarcasm, or cynicism, you're unknowingly anchoring yourself in a mindset that sabotages growth. Speak better to live better. Negativity is sneaky. It doesn't always come in loud anger or obvious pessimism. Sometimes it hides in self-deprecating jokes, constant comparison, or passive hopelessness. Catch it, uproot it, replace it with something stronger. Every time you focus on what's going wrong, you're giving your energy to something you don't want. That's like watering a plant you're trying to kill. Instead, redirect. What's going right? What's improving? What can you do right now? You attract more of what you talk about. Fill your space with goals, with progress, with gratitude. That's not ignoring reality. That's shaping it. Your attention is the architect of your future. Don't let it build a prison of negativity. Negativity loves company, but that doesn't mean you need to accept the invitation. Protect your space. If someone always brings gossip, drama, or complaints, either redirect the energy or remove yourself. Your peace isn't up for debate. Train your brain to look for what's good, even when it's hard. That's a skill, not denial. Gratitude doesn't mean everything's perfect. It means you choose not to be controlled by what's wrong. It means you water what lifts you. Just like your body craves what you feed it often, your mind does too. If you constantly feed your mind negativity, it will seek more of it. But if you start feeding it progress, peace, and discipline, it will change what it looks for. The news, your feed, the people you talk to, they all influence your mental diet. Are they feeding strength or fear? Are they planting clarity or confusion? Audit your input. You can't grow a strong mindset on a toxic intake. There is power in walking away from negative conversations, even if they're happening in your own head. You don't owe your energy to every thought that appears. You have the right to choose a better narrative. Negativity delays healing. It clouds clarity. It stunts growth. It may feel familiar, but it's not your friend. You cannot build a better future while obsessing over what's broken. Let go, even if it's hard. You're not your past pain. Sometimes you're not tired. You're mentally drained by the weight of constant negativity. That's not a productivity issue. That's an emotional load you were never meant to carry. Lighten it by changing what you focus on. Not everything deserves a reaction. Not every situation needs your opinion. The more you react to negativity, the more it ropes you in. Stay grounded. Learn to protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. You don't have to pretend everything is fine, but you don't have to marinate in misery either. Acknowledge the pain, but then choose a response that lifts you. That's emotional maturity. That's power in motion. Negativity feeds on loops, replaying the same offense, the same failure, the same fear. Break the loop, replace the thought, shift the language. That small switch rewires your focus and resets your energy. You can't wait for peace to come from the outside. It starts with what you entertain inside. Don't let other people's chaos become your constant soundtrack. You're allowed to mute what doesn't serve your mind. Negativity is addictive because it gives you something to focus on. but it never gives you a solution. It keeps you in place, repeating pain instead of repairing it. Starve it by taking action. That's the antidote. The energy you carry speaks louder than the words you say. If you walk into every space carrying frustration, bitterness, or anxiety, that becomes your message. Switch the source. Recharge before you show up. That's self-respect. Not all thoughts are true. Not all moods are facts. Sometimes your mind just needs a reset, not more analysis. Go outside. Move your body. Breathe deeply. Change your environment to change your perspective. Protecting your mental environment is not selfish. It's survival. You cannot build a strong life while drowning in negative thoughts. So choose carefully. What you allow, you reinforce. What you feed, you grow. Speak powerfully, especially to yourself. Your inner voice should sound like your strongest friend, not your worst critic. That's a choice you make daily. It begins with awareness and grows with repetition. Negativity shrinks possibility. Positivity expands it. It opens up solutions. It welcomes creativity. It gives your goals room to breathe. Nurture that energy. Let it be the atmosphere that surrounds your purpose. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is stay silent. Not every insult needs a comeback. Not every misunderstanding deserves your breath. The more you react to negativity, the more you let it write your story. Save your energy for what builds. Resentment is recycled pain. If you keep revisiting what hurt you, it stays alive in your system. Letting go isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It doesn't mean they won. It means you refuse to keep feeding the fire. That's strength. That's growth. A single negative thought won't destroy your life, but if you keep watering it, it can take root. And once it roots, it grows branches into everything you do. That's why awareness matters. Catch the thought. Redirect the energy. Negativity doesn't just hurt your mind, it weakens your body. Chronic stress, anxiety, and tension are signals that something inside needs peace. You don't heal by ignoring it. You heal by choosing better thoughts on purpose. Every emotion carries energy. Fear drains, gratitude fuels, anger burns, hope restores. Become a guardian of the energy you carry daily. It's not just about mindset. It's about what your body, heart, and mind are soaking in. The more you complain, the more powerless you feel. That's the trap. Complaints trick you into thinking you're being honest, but often you're just reliving the same frustration with no intention to change. Speak change. Live change. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Some people only bring storms. Others bring peace. Learn to tell the difference. Protect your mind like you would protect a sacred space, because it is. Sometimes negativity looks like overthinking. You keep replaying the worst-case scenario. You rehearse failure before it even happens. That's not preparation. That's self-sabotage. Start rehearsing peace instead. Negativity isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just that quiet voice that says, "Why even try?" You need to catch that whisper and replace it with, "Watch me." That's how you shift your identity, with better sentences. You are not obligated to attend every emotional argument you're invited to. Walk away, not out of weakness, but wisdom. You don't owe your peace to people who don't protect it. You owe it to yourself to be the gatekeeper. Be mindful of what you repeat. If all your stories begin with "I can't" or "it always goes wrong," you're reinforcing limitation. Words shape identity. Speak strength, even when your feelings haven't caught up yet. You can't outrun a mindset you feed daily. If you want peace, feed peace. If you want clarity, stop obsessing over confusion. What you rehearse becomes your reality. Start practicing the energy you want to live in. Even a small shift matters. One better thought, one grateful sentence, one deep breath before reacting. Don't underestimate the compound power of small positive choices. That's how you reverse the damage of negativity. Some people wear negativity like a badge of realism. They think being cynical makes them smart. But wisdom doesn't need pessimism to feel valid. True wisdom finds a way through the storm, not just a reason to stay in it. You don't need to fake happiness. You need to fight for peace. And peace doesn't mean smiling all the time. It means not letting the chaos take control. It means keeping your inner world grounded when everything else shakes. Sometimes the most toxic voice is your own. That inner critic that never lets you breathe, that always finds a flaw. You must retrain that voice. Turn it into a coach instead of a bully. Build instead of break. When you change your narrative, you change your energy. Stop saying, "I'm always overwhelmed," and start saying, "I'm learning to handle more with strength." The story you tell yourself becomes the life you live. Negativity is contagious. But so is calm, so is discipline, so is grace. You are always spreading something. Make sure it's something that lifts. Make your presence a place where people feel more grounded, not more drained. You can't always stop the first negative thought, but you always get to choose the second. That's where your power lies, in the redirect. Practice catching, pausing, and replacing. That's how you train a better mind. When negativity shows up, treat it like spam in your inbox. Don't open it. Don't respond. Just delete it. Move on. You wouldn't waste hours replying to junk mail. Stop wasting energy arguing with thoughts that don't serve you. The words you speak when you're tired, stressed, or angry, they carry weight. Be careful not to let momentary feelings shape permanent beliefs. Pause, breathe, then speak from strength, not survival. Just because a thought is loud doesn't mean it's true. Doubt yells, fear screams, but peace speaks quietly. You have to slow down to hear it. Turn down the volume of the world so you can tune into your inner wisdom. Energy is a currency. Don't spend it on every negative comment, every pointless debate, every petty irritation. Save your strength for building, not battling. Some fights are just distractions wearing a disguise. Sometimes negativity is a habit, not a personality. You've just repeated the same reaction for so long that it feels like who you are. But habits can be broken. Identities can shift. Start with one new response. Repeat it until it becomes you. Let people underestimate you, but don't ever join them. Don't be another voice in the room that says you can't. Even if you're scared, even if you're unsure, choose to speak power into your steps. That's how you walk into strength. Chapter 9. The Habit Loop. What you repeat, you become. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant, water, and nurture will eventually grow. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be intentional. If you don't train your thoughts, weeds of fear, doubt, and negativity will grow on their own. Nature doesn't leave soil empty for long, and neither does your mind. Every thought you repeat is a seed. Some seeds grow into strength, some grow into weakness. And the garden doesn't care which one you choose. It just produces what you plant. This is why awareness is everything. You have to be the gardener. You have to choose your crops. You have to protect the soil. Too many people are walking through life with an untrained mind, wondering why they feel lost. But you can't expect peace from a mental jungle. You need clarity. You need pruning. You need to pull out what no longer belongs and make space for thoughts that grow strength, focus, and direction. The weeds come fast. Old stories, limiting beliefs, toxic voices, they sneak in when you're tired, when you're stressed, when you're unaware. That's why mental training is daily work. not a one-time effort, but a lifestyle of choosing better thoughts, again and again, until they become your mental default. Some thoughts feel natural only because they're familiar. You've fed them for years, but don't confuse familiarity with truth. You can create a new mental environment, one that supports your goals, reinforces your peace, and feeds your focus. It starts with discipline. It grows with repetition. Training your thoughts doesn't mean forcing positivity. It means practicing awareness. It means noticing what doesn't serve you and choosing not to nurture it. It means responding to fear with clarity, to doubt with faith, and to stress with grounded focus. It's inner leadership. You wouldn't leave your body untrained and expect strength. The same goes for your mind. Mental strength requires repetition, struggle, and recovery. It requires you to show up when you don't feel like it, especially then. Every mental rep counts. That's how resilience grows. Your inner voice is the loudest voice you'll hear. If it's unkind, critical, or chaotic, your entire day reflects that. But if it's trained, calm, focused, encouraging, you'll move through life with more confidence. Speak to yourself like someone you respect. That's how your thoughts grow strong. When you notice a negative thought, don't judge it. Observe it. Pause. Ask yourself, is this a thought I want to feed? Is this a belief I want to reinforce? Most thoughts are just habits, and habits can be changed with awareness and effort. That's the beginning of transformation. You don't need to control every thought. That's impossible. But you can control your focus. You can decide which thoughts get your attention, your energy, your agreement. And that choice shapes everything. Thoughts come and go, but focus builds your identity. Discipline your mind the same way you discipline a child, with love, patience, and consistency. Not with harshness or shame, but with guidance. When your mind wanders, gently bring it back. When it rebels, redirect it. Over time, it learns to follow your lead. The most powerful people aren't those who never have negative thoughts. They're the ones who don't let those thoughts take root. They weed them out quickly. They replace them with stronger ones. They don't allow doubt to grow into identity. That's mental mastery. Your attention is your watering can. Wherever you point it, growth will follow. If you keep focusing on what's missing, what's wrong, what's broken, that's what will grow. But if you shift to what's working, what's possible, and what's next, your entire world will shift. Train your thoughts like a champion trains for a fight. Show up daily. Prepare for resistance. Build habits that make focus automatic. When life throws chaos at you, your mind will know how to respond. Not because it's easy, but because you've trained for this. Even a small shift in thought direction can change your outcome. Instead of, I can't, say, I'm learning. Instead of, I failed, say, I'm growing. These aren't lies. They're better perspectives. They're mental nutrients for a healthier mind. A garden left alone becomes wild and overgrown. So does a mind. When you stop being intentional, fear and doubt take over. That's why success starts in silence, in those quiet moments where you choose to think better, even when no one sees it. Make your mental environment a place where hope feels at home, where clarity can grow, where peace is planted. Don't allow toxic narratives to echo for too long. Silence them with truth, with faith, with focus. That's how you cultivate strength. People often wait for motivation, not realizing that clarity comes after mental order. You don't need a burst of energy. You need to declutter your thinking. Get clear, get grounded. From there, momentum grows naturally. You train your thoughts by what you consume, the books you read, the voices you follow, the content you scroll. These are seeds too. Are they feeding strength or feeding confusion? Audit your intake like your life depends on it, because it does. When doubt shows up, greet it with discipline. When fear arises, answer with preparation. When distraction knocks, stay locked in. Your thoughts are not your enemies. They're wild energy that need direction. You are the guide. Train them to follow purpose. There's no such thing as neutral thinking. Every thought is moving you forward or pulling you back. Even subtle self-talk matters. Instead of saying, "I'll try," say, "I will." Instead of, "I hope," say, "I plan." Language trains belief. Let your morning thoughts set the tone. Before the world floods in, speak power over your mind. Choose gratitude. Choose focus. Choose silence over noise. That's your daily garden ritual. Plant strength before the day plants stress. You wouldn't let strangers dump garbage in your house. Don't let every thought dump garbage in your mind. Guard your gate. Protect your mental space. It's not about being positive all the time. It's about being purposeful all the time. Train your thoughts to ask better questions. Not why me, but what can I learn? Not what if I fail, but what if I grow stronger? These questions plant possibility. They guide your mind toward strength, not fear. Growth happens when your thoughts start working for you instead of against you. That's the shift. That's the goal. Not perfection, but partnership. You and your mind, aligned, focused, trained, and building something powerful. A thought repeated enough times becomes a belief. And beliefs drive behavior. If you want to change your life, you don't start with action. You start with thought. You interrupt the script. You rewrite the sentence. You plant something new and feed it daily. Just like you rotate crops in a real garden to keep the soil healthy, you must rotate your focus. Don't just think about one area of growth. Feed your emotional intelligence. Nurture your spiritual peace. Build mental strength. Let your life be a well-balanced harvest. When fear creeps in, don't pull it out with panic. Pull it out with truth. Fear loses power when it's exposed. Say it out loud. Break its illusion. Remind yourself who you are, what you've survived, and what you're becoming. That's how you detox your mind. A weak mind looks for comfort. A trained mind seeks growth. It understands that the greatest fruit comes after pruning, after storms, after seasons of waiting. Don't resent the process. Master it. It's shaping something powerful beneath the surface. If your inner garden is filled with scarcity thoughts, you'll repel abundance. If it's full of doubt, you'll sabotage opportunities. Train your thoughts to expect growth, to attract strength, to anticipate greatness. Not because it's easy, but because it's possible. Even the most beautiful gardens have weeds. Don't be discouraged when negative thoughts show up. Just don't entertain them. Don't give them a seat at your table. Identify them, uproot them, and return your attention to what builds. The moment you wake up, your garden is vulnerable. The world wants to plant fear, comparison, distraction. That's why you must start with intention. Affirm your focus. Water your peace. Pull out worry before it grows into anxiety. Thoughts are habits. If you've trained your mind to worry for years, you'll have to retrain it to trust. It will resist. But just like a muscle, repetition reshapes it. Over time, your default thoughts will become stronger, calmer, more powerful. Don't argue with weeds, just remove them. When a destructive thought pops up, like, "I'm not good enough," don't debate it, replace it. Say, "I'm growing stronger every day." Truth doesn't shout. It stands quietly, firmly, with power. You become what you consistently think about. That's not just philosophy, that's neuroscience. Neural pathways grow stronger with repetition. Feed the thoughts you want to live in. Starve the ones you want to leave behind. Sometimes your garden needs silence. Too many voices, opinions, and distractions crowd your clarity. Disconnect. Sit with your thoughts. Listen to your inner world. That's where your real direction grows. Not in noise, but in stillness. Your mental environment should feel like sunlight, warm, honest, energizing. If your self-talk feels like a storm, it's time to clear the clouds. Say less of, "Why do I always mess up?" and more of, "What can I learn from this?" You can't plant a thought and expect results the next day. Gardens don't grow overnight, and neither does mental strength. Be patient. Show up. Stay consistent. Over time, what you plant in discipline will bloom in peace. When you speak life into yourself, you shift everything. Your posture changes, your energy rises, your confidence builds. That one sentence, "I'm capable," might seem small, but repeated daily, it becomes a mental root system. Not every thought deserves a reaction. Some thoughts are just tests. Will you water this one? Will you believe this fear? Or will you let it pass like a cloud in the sky? Awareness gives you the power to decide. Guard your garden, but don't fear the storm. Storms bring water. Pain brings insight. Struggle forces growth. A trained mind doesn't panic. It prepares. It bends, but it doesn't break. It adapts and grows stronger. Be careful what you joke about repeatedly. Humor is powerful, but if you're constantly making jokes that put yourself down, your brain doesn't always know it's a joke. Train your humor to build, not break. Mental weeding is a daily act. Some days you'll find deep-rooted beliefs you didn't even know were there. Don't get discouraged. That's progress. Keep digging, keep pulling. Make room for better thoughts to grow. Celebrate small shifts. You didn't explode with anger today. That's growth. You chose clarity over chaos. That's progress. A garden doesn't bloom with one seed. It flourishes through daily care and small victories. Train your mind to see solutions. When problems come, most people feed frustration, but you can train your thoughts to look for options, to think critically, to stay calm under pressure. That's the power of mental design. Choose thoughts that give you energy. If an idea drains you, don't dwell on it. You owe your energy to what strengthens you, to what lifts your spirit. Anything else is a cost you can't afford to keep paying. Your thoughts echo into your environment. If your mind is cluttered, your room will reflect it. Your relationships will feel the weight. Your work will suffer. But when your inner world is disciplined, your outer world follows. A trained mind doesn't need constant stimulation. It can sit still, it can focus, it can wait. That's mental strength. Being able to control your thoughts without needing noise, scrolling, or distraction to feel alive. Don't confuse worry with responsibility. Responsible people plan, prepare, and adjust. Worriers overthink, obsess, and paralyze themselves. Train your thoughts to act, not spiral. That's how you stay grounded in chaos. Sometimes your thoughts just need direction. They're not broken, they're just scattered. Write them down, organize them, give them purpose. The same way you organize your tasks, organize your mind. Create internal order. The way you speak to yourself sets the tone for your entire life. If you wouldn't say it to someone you love, don't say it to yourself. Train your thoughts to build trust with yourself. That's where all growth begins. Chapter 10. Build a mindset that works for you. Growth doesn't happen in one grand moment. It happens in quiet repetition, day after day, choice after choice, effort after effort. That's where transformation lives. It's not exciting, it's not loud, but it's powerful. And most people miss it because they're chasing intensity instead of consistency. You don't become strong by lifting something once. You become strong by lifting repeatedly. The same principle applies to your mind, your habits, your beliefs. What you do again and again becomes who you are. Repetition builds your identity, whether you're conscious of it or not. Success doesn't come from doing something once perfectly. It comes from doing it imperfectly 1,000 times. Repetition polishes your process. It strengthens your commitment. It eliminates doubt, because every time you repeat, you prove to yourself that you're serious. Small disciplines, when repeated daily, become unstoppable momentum. Brushing your teeth doesn't make you healthy in one day, but do it every day, and it's a foundation. Reading one page, doing one push-up, writing one paragraph. Over time, these small acts build something big. Repetition is the bridge between goals and results. Everyone wants the goal, but few want the repetition. They get bored, they want variety, they want stimulation. But the wise understand. Repetition is mastery. Repetition is leverage. Repetition is how you dominate. You can't grow a new mindset without repetition. One affirmation isn't enough. One moment of clarity isn't enough. You have to embed it. Etch it into your brain through consistent thought. Say it, think it, write it, live it, again and again until it becomes real. There's a reason habits feel automatic, because they've been repeated enough times to live in your subconscious. That's the key. What you repeat becomes effortless. Make sure you're repeating the right things. Make sure your repetitions are aligned with your future. Don't underestimate the power of a boring routine. That repetition might feel dull today, but it's building something you'll thank yourself for later. While others chase excitement, you're building roots. Deep, unshakable roots that won't break when life gets hard. Repetition breaks resistance. The first few times will feel awkward. You'll doubt yourself. You'll want to quit. But if you keep showing up, something shifts. Your body adapts. Your mind follows. The process gets easier because you've conditioned yourself through action. Growth is rarely dramatic. It's often invisible. But don't confuse invisible with ineffective. What you're doing every day is planting seeds. Water them, nurture them, trust the process. Repetition turns seeds into forests. Repetition builds belief. Every time you act, you cast a vote for the person you're becoming. You're not just building a habit, you're building an identity. I'm disciplined. I'm consistent. I'm capable. Those truths grow stronger with each repetition. Most people quit not because they're weak, but because they don't respect the power of repetition. They want results now. They want progress instantly. But real growth takes time. It takes patience. And it takes the humility to do the same thing long enough to see change. Success is often hidden behind tasks that feel too small to matter. But those are the tasks that build everything. One more rep, one more step, one more chapter, one more disciplined day. Over time, these small efforts become massive transformations. When you repeat something, you reduce the cost of action. It takes less willpower, less thought, less energy. That's the beauty of repetition. It creates automatic excellence. You don't have to think about it. You just do it, because it's who you are. Champions aren't made in highlight reels. They're made in practice, in repetition, in doing the same drill for the 1,000th time. They know that skill isn't given, it's built. They're not afraid to repeat because they know repetition is how greatness is born. Repetition also builds confidence. Every time you do something hard, you remind yourself that you're capable. You gather evidence. You silence doubt. You become grounded in your ability, not because you said it, but because you proved it. You can't expect your thoughts to change unless you repeat new ones. One positive thought won't overpower years of negativity. But repeated daily affirmations, they change your internal language, and your language changes your life. The mind learns through loops. The more loops you complete, the more stable your growth becomes. That's how you build emotional strength, mental focus, and personal power. One repetition won't change you, but one repeated enough times will define you. Sometimes repetition feels like you're going nowhere. That's okay. Growth isn't always visible on the surface. Just like lifting weights, you don't see change after one workout. But that doesn't mean change isn't happening beneath the skin. You must fall in love with the process of repetition, not the results, not the praise, but the quiet, unseen effort that no one claps for. That's where true growth happens, in the shadows, in the silence, in the discipline. Each repetition creates evidence, evidence that you are who you say you are. Every time you show up, you reinforce your standard. You silence the lies. You override old programming. And eventually, you don't just hope you're growing, you know you are. Repetition requires endurance. You'll get tired, you'll feel stuck. But if you keep showing up, that tired version of you becomes strong. That stuck version becomes free, not by escaping the process, but by trusting it enough to stay in it. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And systems are built on repetition, daily rhythms, structured behaviors. That's how you stay consistent even when motivation fades. There's no shortcut to mastery, no hack to sustained growth, just repetition. The unglamorous, unfiltered, unwavering discipline of doing it again, and again, and again. That's the real secret behind every success story. If you want to grow, repeat what matters. Don't complicate it. Don't overthink it. Pick a habit, build a routine, commit to it, and let repetition do what it always does. Turn small acts into unstoppable progress. You can't build anything permanent on occasional effort. That's why repetition matters more than intensity. Anyone can push hard once, but few can show up every day, rain or shine, mood or no mood. That's what separates the average from the unstoppable. Repetition turns hope into habit. At first, you hope you'll stay disciplined. You hope you'll stick to your goals. But with daily practice, that hope becomes something solid. It becomes who you are. No more guessing, no more wishing, just knowing. Growth loves repetition because it forces you to show up honestly. You can't fake consistency. It exposes your real level of commitment. When you repeat, you're declaring, "This matters to me." And that declaration reshapes your identity from the inside out. Every repetition is a vote for who you're becoming, even when no one sees it, especially then. Quiet effort is the foundation of loud results. You don't have to announce it. Your growth will speak for itself over time. There is a rhythm to excellence, and repetition is the beat. When you repeat good habits, you create harmony in your life. Your energy becomes more focused, your actions more precise. You move with intention instead of chaos. Repetition teaches patience. You don't rush the outcome because you're committed to the process. And that calm persistence builds peace. You stop needing instant results because you trust what's being built behind the scenes. One of the strongest forms of self-respect is repeating behaviors that honor your future. Skipping the junk food, waking up early, saying no to distractions. These aren't just routines, they're signs that you're feeding what matters. You can't expect to build a fortress if you're laying bricks once a week. Repetition is the daily bricklayer. It's slow, it's repetitive, but it's also how empires are built. One brick, one layer, one steady motion at a time. Consistency doesn't mean perfection, it means return. Return when you're tired. Return when you're discouraged. Return when you fail. Repetition isn't about flawless execution, it's about showing up again and again. In a world addicted to novelty, repetition is rebellious. It's unfashionable, it's quiet, but it's the root of mastery. While others chase quick wins, you're building something that lasts. You're grounded while they're scattered. Momentum isn't magic, it's repetition in motion. Every time you take a step forward, it gets easier to take the next. Soon, you're not pushing anymore. You're gliding. The effort compounds. That's the magic of momentum built on repetition. Repetition strengthens resilience. The more times you fall and rise again, the more unshakable you become. You stop fearing failure because you've rehearsed your comeback. You've seen your own bounce back on repeat. People often want change but hate routine. That's the trap. They crave the result but resist the path. But repetition is the path. It's the doorway to change. Walk through it, even when it feels plain. That's where your future is hiding. Even when progress is invisible, repetition is still doing its job. It's working in the background, reinforcing neural pathways, training your muscle memory, setting your standards. Don't wait for visible change to validate your effort. Trust the hidden growth. The beauty of repetition is that it builds confidence without requiring emotion. You don't have to feel confident to act confidently. You just do the thing, again and again, until confidence shows up uninvited. Because you've proven you belong. Repetition teaches you the difference between what's urgent and what's important. The urgent screams, the important whispers, and repetition helps you hear that whisper clearly. It helps you stay loyal to what matters most. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every day, just keep turning it. Repetition removes decision fatigue. It makes growth automatic. You stop wasting energy on "should I?" and just do it. Because it's already part of your flow. Your brain loves patterns. When you give it positive patterns through repetition, it starts seeking more. It craves the habit loop. This is how you shift from forcing discipline to desiring it. That's how real change sticks. Repetition reveals what you truly value. You can say health matters, but if you never move, it doesn't. You can say growth matters, but if you never study, it doesn't. What you repeat tells the truth of what you prioritize. You don't have to do everything. You just have to do the right things again and again. That's where clarity lives. Not in doing more, but in repeating what aligns. Focused repetition is how you multiply results with fewer distractions. Most greatness is boring up close. It's filled with rehearsals, rewrites, retries. That's why many give up. They expected excitement instead of endurance. But those who stay with the repetition unlock levels most never reach. There's power in mastering the basics. While others chase complicated hacks, you're refining fundamentals. And over time, those basics outperform every shortcut. Repetition turns the simple into the elite. Repetition turns chaos into control. The more you repeat something, the more predictable it becomes. That predictability becomes power. You no longer fear the task, you own it, because you've seen it, faced it, mastered it. To rise above average, you must embrace what average minds reject: repetition. It's not glamorous, it's not viral, but it's the truth behind every legend, behind every success, behind every transformation worth remembering. Repetition is the silent architect of your future. It builds when no one's watching. It stacks when no one claps. But eventually, it reveals what you've been building all along, a life designed by discipline, not desire. Chapter 11. Every action feeds something. Choose wisely. In a world that's constantly screaming for your attention, silence becomes a weapon. If you want to rise above average, you need to eliminate the noise, the distractions, the opinions, the temptations, and lock in on what truly matters. Focus is a choice, and clarity is the reward. You can't build anything meaningful if your mind is scattered. Every notification, every irrelevant opinion, every mindless scroll chips away at your focus. It's not just wasting time. It's stealing momentum. You don't need more hours. You need fewer interruptions. Distractions aren't always external. Some are internal. Doubts, overthinking, emotional baggage. To lock in, you have to clear that too. You need mental stillness, not just physical silence. You need to stop carrying thoughts that don't align with your purpose. The ability to lock in starts with boundaries. If everyone has access to your time, no one will value it, including you. Say no more often. Turn off the noise. Make space sacred. Your goals deserve protection, and focus requires discipline. You don't owe anyone your focus. You don't have to explain why you're unavailable. Growth demands solitude, not because you hate people, but because you love progress. Some seasons require isolation to build elevation. The modern world trains you to chase everything, but mastery requires the opposite, chasing one thing relentlessly. Lock in on a mission, a vision, a standard, and cut off anything that doesn't serve that direction. Noise often disguises itself as urgency, but urgency without importance is manipulation. Don't confuse activity with achievement. Just because something feels loud doesn't mean it's worthy of your energy. Every time you choose stillness over stimulation, you strengthen your mind. That's how you build endurance. That's how you deepen your thoughts. Silence allows your ideas to breathe. Focus gives your goals room to grow. You'll never hear your intuition if you're always surrounded by noise. Your inner voice gets drowned out when you're constantly tuned into everyone else's. Lock in on what you know, you feel, you need. That's where real alignment begins. The more noise you allow, the harder it becomes to hear clarity. Don't let social media trends define your vision. Don't let other people's urgency hijack your direction. Lock in on your purpose, not their pressure. Eliminating noise means filtering your inputs, what you watch, what you read, who you follow. Guard your mental diet, garbage in, garbage out. Excellence starts with awareness of what you're allowing to influence you. You can't grow in chaos. Growth needs order, a clear schedule, a focused environment. Don't just hope you'll stay locked in. Design your life around it. Build habits and systems that support your concentration. The people around you can be noise too. If they constantly distract, discourage, or derail your focus, they don't belong in your circle. Protect your energy by choosing your company wisely. Some people aren't bad, they're just loud in the wrong direction. To lock in, you need goals that are so clear they act like magnets. You need a reason so strong that no amount of noise can pull you away. When your purpose is precise, distractions lose their power. They fade into background static. Be ruthless with your time. Audit your hours. Ask yourself, is this helping me lock in or pulling me off track? That one question can shift your life. It brings you back to your center, back to your mission, back to what matters. Clarity loves simplicity. If your life feels chaotic, it's time to simplify. Fewer apps, fewer tabs, fewer commitments. Complexity is noise in disguise. Simplicity is power in motion. Strip it down and focus up. The most successful people are masters of elimination. They don't do more. They do less, better. They remove distractions with precision. That's why they move faster, think clearer, and build bigger. Simplicity fuels scale. Focus isn't natural anymore. It has to be trained. It's a muscle that weakens in noise and strengthens in silence. Daily practices like meditation, deep work, or scheduled solitude are tools to reclaim your mind. Don't wait for perfect conditions to focus. Create them. Turn off your phone. Close your door. Set a timer. Eliminate excuses. Greatness doesn't come from waiting for calm. It comes from creating focus amidst the storm. Noise is addictive. That's why people resist silence. But discomfort is part of detox. Sit with the quiet long enough, and you'll find your edge again. That edge was never lost. It was just buried under distractions. When you lock in, you see through the fog. Priorities become obvious. Time slows down. Creativity surges. You operate from power, not pressure. That's the reward of eliminating noise, access to your highest potential. Not every distraction is obvious. Some are disguised as good opportunities, but good can still be the enemy of great. Say no to what looks okay if it pulls you away from your true path. Greatness requires sacrifice. Mental clutter is real. Journaling, silence, even talking to someone wise. These can clear space in your mind. Don't underestimate the value of mental clarity. It's the runway for all transformation. You don't rise by chasing everything. You rise by eliminating what doesn't serve. Laser focus, sharpened vision. That's what moves you forward. Remove the noise, lock in, and watch your life multiply. The more distractions you entertain, the longer you delay your breakthrough. Noise might feel harmless, but it's the slow death of vision. Each interruption steals a piece of your progress. Cut it off. Be selective with what gets your attention. Some noise is internal guilt, voices from the past telling you you're not ready. Silence them with results. Prove yourself by building, not by overthinking. The loudest doubts are usually lies dressed up as caution. Focus requires making peace with boredom. You'll sit through long hours of no applause. That's when most people quit. But if you lock in when nothing's exciting, you'll own the moments when everything explodes with momentum. Your attention is your power. Whatever has it controls you. If that's other people's drama, you'll live in circles. If it's your goals, you'll rise in levels. Focus isn't a gift. It's a responsibility to manage wisely. Not everything urgent is important. Train your mind to pause before reacting. Ask, does this move me forward or just keep me busy? Busyness is noise in disguise. Purpose is clarity that cuts through the chaos. The more you eliminate, the more you elevate. Simplicity isn't laziness, it's precision. A focused life isn't small, it's sharp. The sharper your focus, the deeper your results. You don't need more, you need less, done better. You're not lazy, you're distracted. The internet wants your scroll. Ads want your impulse. People want your time. And all of them rob your discipline. Take it back by unplugging. Every disconnection is a step toward control. Your focus is a magnet. It pulls your environment into alignment. If you stay locked in, your habits, people, and energy will either shift to support you or fall away. Let them fall. Growth is noisy on the outside and silent within. Noise is comfortable. It lets you avoid the discomfort of doing the hard work. But comfort is a trap that never grows. Silence may be uncomfortable at first, but in that quiet, you'll rediscover your inner fire. Some people will call your focus obsession. Let them. They don't know what it costs to build something that lasts. You're not here for balance, you're here for purpose. And purpose requires obsession that drowns out excuses. You don't need to announce your focus. Real focus shows up in your results, not your posts. Quiet progress is lethal. Let them underestimate you. It's easier to win when no one sees your moves coming. Every time you check your phone mid-task, you're handing your power away. You're breaking your rhythm. To lock in, you must honor flow. Flow state doesn't come easy. It's earned by eliminating the micro-distractions that sabotage you. The world profits from your distraction. Algorithms are built to keep your attention trapped. Fight back by creating before you consume. Win your mornings. Guard your evenings. Give your best hours to what matters most. You don't need motivation. You need fewer options. Focus thrives under constraint. Too many choices breed confusion. Pick one goal, build one path, burn the rest. That's how momentum is born. You're not stuck, you're scattered. All your energy is leaking out through open tabs, conversations, unfinished tasks. Close the loops, lock the doors. Focus is simply energy concentrated instead of divided. Build a life that supports your focus. Clear your desk. Silence your phone. Declutter your room. The more you clean your environment, the more space you create in your mind. Clean spaces lead to clear breakthroughs. There will always be something trying to steal your focus. Always. That's why it must be defended like a fortress. Don't wait for life to be quiet. Create your own silence. Create your own clarity. Build your mental walls. Being locked in doesn't mean being rigid. It means being intentional. Adjust when needed. Flex when required. But never drift. There's a difference between adapting and losing direction. Stay rooted in your why. The more focused you become, the lonelier it might feel. That's okay. Solitude isn't punishment, it's preparation. While others chase approval, you're chasing legacy. Trust the quiet season. It's building your future. Some of the loudest noise comes from fear. What if I fail? What if I waste time? Answer it with action. Don't debate your fear. Outwork it. Let your execution become louder than your anxiety. Multitasking is a lie. It's just doing many things poorly. Focus isn't just about what you do. It's about what you don't do. Say no more often. Say yes with full presence. Partial focus leads to partial results. The most powerful energy is undivided attention. When your mind, heart, and hands are on the same task, that's when transformation happens. You don't need more tools. You need more presence. The best ideas won't come when you're distracted. They come in stillness, in showers, on walks, during quiet moments. Focus gives birth to creativity. Noise kills it before it breathes. When your life is noisy, you react. When your life is focused, you create. Creation beats reaction every time. Lock in so you can lead, not just respond. Be the cause, not the effect. Master your minutes, and the hours take care of themselves. Master your hours, and the weeks transform. That's how you build a life. One focused moment at a time. Discipline over noise. Clarity over chaos. Chapter 12. Starve fear, feed faith. Focus isn't just a skill anymore. It's a superpower. In a world flooded with distractions, the person who can lock in, eliminate the noise, and give undivided attention to a goal becomes unstoppable. While others scroll, drift, and react, you execute with precision. Distractions are everywhere because attention is the most valuable currency. Everyone wants a piece of your focus. Apps, ads, opinions, and drama. If you don't protect your attention, someone else will control your direction. Focus makes the average exceptional. You don't need to be more talented, more connected, or more lucky. You need to be more focused. With laser focus, even a small effort compounds into massive results over time. Every day you wake up with a limited amount of mental energy. Wasting it on things that don't matter drains your power before the real work begins. Focus is the decision to conserve and direct that energy with discipline. When you train yourself to stay locked in, you start winning in silence. You begin to grow in ways the world won't notice until you're too far ahead for them to catch up. That's the reward for staying focused when it wasn't easy. People who lack focus often confuse movement with progress. They stay busy, but go nowhere. Focused people may move slower, but every step they take is aligned with purpose, and that's why they go further. Success isn't always about adding more. It's about removing what dilutes your impact. A scattered effort produces scattered results. Focus gives your goals the clarity and energy they need to manifest. The most elite athletes, artists, and entrepreneurs all share one trait: the ability to shut out the noise and lock in on what matters. That's not an accident. It's a superpower they've earned through discipline. Focus transforms your weaknesses into strengths. It allows you to drill deep into your flaws and refine them. You don't rise by avoiding your gaps. You rise by facing them head-on, repeatedly, until they become mastered. There will always be more to do, more to chase, more to react to, but the real warrior learns the art of stillness. Focus isn't frantic. It's calm, deliberate, and unwavering. That's the energy of those who win long-term. If you're feeling overwhelmed, it's likely because your focus has been hijacked. Get it back. Strip away the unimportant. Prioritize the powerful. Protect your focus like your future depends on it. Because it does. Focus builds momentum, and momentum, once rolling, becomes harder to stop than to start. But it begins with a single decision: to show up today, block the noise, and move forward no matter how small the step. When you focus deeply, you notice details others miss. You hear the unspoken. You anticipate moves. That kind of clarity isn't luck. It's a reward. A reward for giving something your full attention without splitting your soul in 10 directions. Multitasking is not a strength. It's a silent destroyer of quality. Focus is about single tasking with excellence. Doing one thing like your life depends on it. That's how greatness is carved into reality. Don't confuse focus with obsession. Obsession is unhealthy attachment. Focus is healthy alignment. It's knowing your mission so clearly that nothing unrelated can distract you for long. There will be critics who say you're too intense, too committed, too focused. Let them talk. While they talk, you build. While they watch, you execute. The spotlight will find you when the work is undeniable. Focus makes you immune to trends. While others chase what's popular, you build what's timeless. That kind of discipline isn't taught. It's forged through choice, daily, repeated choice to lock in. Focus gives you control, not just over your work, but over your emotions, your responses, your time. It's the anchor in chaos, the silence in noise, the order in distraction. Focus grounds you when everything else tries to pull you apart. The future belongs to the focused, those who can drown out the opinions, the pressure, the anxiety, and still move with clarity. It's not about doing everything, it's about doing what matters relentlessly. The secret isn't working more hours, it's focusing harder within the hours you already have. One focused hour can be worth more than 10 distracted ones. Stop measuring time. Start measuring intention. Focus teaches you what really matters. When you eliminate distractions, you realize how little most things deserve your energy. You become lighter, clearer, sharper. That's when the real growth begins. When you're locked in, fear fades. You don't have time for self-doubt or hesitation. You're too busy executing, too focused to worry. That tunnel vision is the key to achieving the impossible. Discipline gives you focus, but focus feeds your discipline. Together, they create consistency. And consistency, day after day, builds a force that no resistance can break. That's the rhythm of mastery. Focus doesn't mean you don't stumble. It means you get up quicker. You don't spiral. You course correct. You stay rooted in your mission even when the day tries to throw you off. That's the power of an anchored mind. This chapter is a reminder. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do what matters without flinching. Focus is not just a tool, it's your superpower. Use it wisely, use it daily, and watch your life transform. There's something magnetic about someone who's focused. Their presence feels different. Their decisions are intentional. You can tell they're not moved by chaos because they've already committed to clarity. They walk with direction, not distraction. Most people never reach their potential because they're addicted to stimulation. Constant noise, constant updates, constant comparison. But the ones who win, they cut it all off. They find stillness. They train their brain to resist the urge for everything and choose only what matters. When you focus, you start to build internal trust. You show yourself that you follow through, even when motivation fades. That builds identity, and identity drives action. It's no longer something you do. It's who you are. The deeper you focus, the more you discover hidden strength. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start mastering imperfect execution. You no longer need a crowd. You don't chase applause. You build in silence and let results speak. The greatest clarity comes when the noise is gone. You hear your own thoughts more clearly. You see your next step more confidently. You're no longer clouded by what others want for you. You're guided by what you demand from yourself. Focus is painful at first. The world has trained you to chase novelty. But once you break through that craving, you find peace in the process. You stop needing new. You start loving depth. That's when the shift happens. A focused life is a life of purpose. Not because you know all the answers, but because you've chosen not to be everywhere at once. You've decided to master the few things that matter. That's not limitation, that's liberation. What you feed with attention grows in strength. Focus gives life to whatever you place it on. If you feed distraction, distraction will dominate you. If you feed growth, it will guide you. Every moment is a seed. Plant wisely. You don't become legendary by doing more. You become legendary by doing less, but doing it flawlessly. Focus refines your edge. It separates noise from necessity. It forges your name in quiet discipline, not loud chaos. People may not notice your focus right away, but over time, they'll ask how you moved so far ahead. They'll wonder how you built something so strong, so grounded. And the answer will be simple. You protected your mind. No one can focus for you. No one can protect your attention like you can. It's a choice you make daily, to be pulled into noise or pulled into purpose. It's not about time management. It's about attention discipline. You will never outwork a scattered mind. Hustle without focus leads to burnout, not breakthroughs. But a focused mind, it compounds effort, it multiplies progress, it finds smarter paths through deeper awareness. You don't need external motivation when you're truly focused. The vision itself becomes fuel. You wake up knowing why you're here. You stop chasing hype and start choosing habits. That's the quiet fire of the focused. Every distraction that tries to tempt you is a test. Can you stay the course? Can you choose purpose over pleasure? Most people fail that test, but the few who pass it, they build lives others can only dream about. Focus isn't a one-time event. It's a daily discipline. You recommit each morning. You notice when you slip. You course correct before you crash. It's not about perfection. It's about persistence with precision. A focused person becomes a lighthouse. They're steady, grounded, reliable. While others crash on the rocks of impulsiveness, the focused keep shining, keep guiding, keep building. And that light becomes impossible to ignore. You don't need louder goals. You need quieter distractions. Don't amplify the chaos. Silence it. Turn off the tabs, the noise, the voices that dilute your drive. What remains will be pure power. Focus creates flow, that rare state where time bends, creativity explodes, and work becomes art. You don't stumble into that state. You earn it through repetition, through commitment, through the art of locking in. When you focus, you become more dangerous. Not in a harmful way, but in a powerful way. You stop playing by everyone else's schedule. You move with stealth, strategy, and strength. You become a force no one expected. Even your emotions become clearer when you focus. You don't suppress them, you understand them. You recognize what serves your mission and what doesn't. That clarity helps you lead your mind instead of being led by it. Focused living makes life feel lighter, not because it's easier, but because it's simpler. You know what you want. You know what you're avoiding. You don't carry the weight of every possibility, only the ones that matter. There's a quiet confidence in focus. It doesn't brag, it doesn't chase, it just works. Day by day, task by task, mission by mission, and before the world catches on, you're already ahead. Focus isn't just about goals, it's about self-respect. It's saying, I value my mind enough not to waste it. It's treating your attention like sacred ground, only allowing what deserves to be there. Every time you say no to a distraction, you say yes to your future. Those small choices compound, they stack, and one day they build the version of you that even you didn't know was possible. Stay focused, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Your dreams are real, your mission is valid, but it will only come to life if you protect your energy, choose your priorities, and stay locked in until the work is done. You've heard the truth. Your energy is a currency, your focus is fuel, and every single day you're either watering weeds or building a garden. The future version of you is shaped by what you feed right now. So don't go back to feeding doubt. Don't revive what you fought to starve. Keep feeding growth, keep feeding strength, and most of all, keep feeding the unstoppable version of you. This isn't just a message, it's a mindset. Now live it.